When Roe v. Wade was overturned, many Christians saw Donald Trump as the champion who accomplished what no other president could for the pro-life movement. But now, a growing number of Christians are saying this.
I think his legacy ultimately will be that he destroyed the pro-life movement.
Now, I know this might sound far-fetched, maybe even ridiculous, but there's a real argument behind it. In fact, the very thing that made Trump a hero for the pro-life movement may now be its greatest threat. So here's how it could all come crashing down. And before we dive in, I just want to be clear that this video is not intended to tell you how to vote or to attack Trump or anything like that. Nor am I suggesting that Trump is a bigger threat to the pro-life movement than someone like Kamala Harris, who is obviously a bigger threat. Instead, I want to explore how even well-intended actions can have unintended consequences and make sure that those of us that are pro-life are prepared for what we probably didn't see coming. To understand the problem, we have to realize how far we've come. Trump's appointment of justices that overturned Roe v. Wade was no doubt a historic victory for the pro-life movement. But the real question is whether that victory is set up for a lasting change, or if what might seem like a win today could actually become a significant setback tomorrow. You see, in order for me to paint the full picture for you, take a listen to this. What you're listening to is a baby's heartbeat at around 6 weeks in the mother's womb. This sound represents new life. And when Trump was running for president in 2016, he won voters over by expressing his full support of the heartbeat bill, which aimed to ban abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, typically around the 6-week mark, and this bill was seen as protecting the most vulnerable lives among us. And also around this time, Trump was very vocal about the fact that he would ban late-term abortions, even endorsing this, which sought to ban abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy.
Because you say you want to ban it. What's that mean?
I am pro-life, yes.
Now, late-term abortions are such a divisive issue, and Trump's strong stance on banning them further solidified his support with pro-life voters. But when he finally got into office, he did something that was seen as the most significant advancement for the pro-life movement in recent memory. As president, Trump appointed pro-life justices, which eventually led to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which was a really, really big deal. Not only has this been a primary goal of the pro-life movement since 1973, but it's also what a lot of people consider to be the single biggest victory for the pro-life movement in decades. You see, Roe v. Wade effectively legalized abortions nationwide, preventing individual states from banning or restricting access to them. And so overturning it meant that states were now free to create their own abortion laws, which is why we see so many states with stricter abortion laws today. At the time I'm working on this video, these states right here in red are the states that have now banned abortion completely, and these states right here have placed bans on abortions with only a few exceptions. So as you can see, together, this means that there's been bans on about half of the US states since Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022. This is a significant shift, especially in such a short period of time. And for those of us that are pro-life, we could see this as a great win, one that effectively turned back the clock on the increase of abortions since the establishment of the law in 1973, which nearly doubled the amount of abortions being done in America in just 1 year. But given Trump's most recent change of heart, what he's doing now could undo all of this incredible progress that we've made. But before we get to that, I just have to say, without our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do everything that I'm planning on doing with this channel this year, which is why I'm incredibly thankful for the sponsors of today's video. If you're a homeowner like me, when's the last time that you've checked the title of your home, the legal document that proves that you own it? If the answer is never, then you probably need to know about a fast-growing scam that the FBI calls house stealing. Now, I was recently given a demonstration to how easy this scam is, and I have to tell you, it's honestly pretty shocking. This document right here is what's called a quitclaim deed, which shows that I sold my house to a fake person with fake information. It's just an example. But what you need to know is with a fake notary seal that you can get online and a small fee, scammers can file it with county officials and take your home out of your name without you even knowing it. But here's the thing, they're not just after your house, they're after your equity. Because once they have control, they take out loans using your home as collateral and leave you with a financial and legal nightmare. But the good news is you can protect yourself with Home Title Lock's triple lock protection. The first thing you need to do is to check on your home's title to see if it's still in your name. And for that, you can go to HometitleLock.com, enter your address, and you'll receive a complete title scan to see if you're already a victim or not. Just make sure you use the code MEME so that way you can get this title history report and a 30-day trial of their triple lock protection for free, which is obviously a great deal. So HometitleLock.com with the promo code MEME. Again, thank you Home Title Lock for sponsoring us. Now, back to the video. In recent months, statistics have uncovered a really big problem for the pro-life movement. About 63% of Americans say that abortion should be legal in all or most cases, while only 36% believe that it should be illegal in most cases. Further, even 41% of conservatives say that abortion should be legal in all or most cases. And this could be the reason for why during this year's campaign, Trump has said things like this.
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill. And I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it.
But what you need to understand about the abortion pill is that it was first legalized in 2020, and it's now the most common method of abortion in the US. In 2023 alone, it accounted for 63% of abortions, and that's a number that's likely much higher by now. The rise of the abortion pill has made it significantly harder for the pro-life movement to address abortion legislatively, especially now that it's widely available by mail in many states. So when Trump endorses this, he is, in effect, supporting the termination of at least 63% of unborn children in the US. But to his credit, he did make it clear that although he's personally against abortion, he thinks that it should be handled by the states. And that's all the more reason that people were confused when he was asked if he would support the Florida 6-week abortion ban, especially since it's like the one that he was strongly advocating for while he was campaigning in 2016.
Well, I think the 6 week is too short. It has to be more time, and I've told them that I want more weeks.
So you'll vote in favor of the amendment?
I am going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks.
Around this time, he also made a tweet saying that his campaign will be great for women and reproductive rights, implying an obvious change of heart since his first term. And even more concerning, if a federal ban was somehow able to go into place, according to his running mate J.D. Vance, Trump would veto it to make sure that it wouldn't go into place.
I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
So all of this and more is what led the Christian author and trial lawyer to say this about Trump's legacy.
I would just say that I think one of the other messages that the Republican Party will take from the Trump years is that you don't have to be pro-life, not for real. Trump's proved that. He has said maybe he would sign a 16-week abortion ban. 93% of abortions occur by week 16. He called a 6-week abortion ban a terrible idea, and he wins in a romp. At a time when Ohio, Kansas, other states have demonstrated the unpopularity of that view, and I think he's proven, and I think his legacy ultimately will be that he destroyed the pro-life movement.
So if this is the case, then we go from about 63% of abortions that are approved by Trump to a whopping 93% of vulnerable lives that Trump is seemingly in support of allowing to be terminated. And Trump rightly says that abortions after 21 weeks are awful and they shouldn't happen. But those only account for about 1% of abortions. And if Trump represents the Conservative Party and he's for 93% of abortions, can we even say that the Conservative Party is truly pro-life anymore? With only a 6 or a 7% difference from the Democrats, the parties are starting to look almost indistinguishable on this issue. So one of the biggest issues is this. Trump's lack of support for stricter bans would only allow these trends to continue and would eventually lead to the erosion of pro-life victories. But one thing that's making the collapse of the pro-life movement nearly inevitable is the shift in strategy that Trump's currently implementing. Donald Trump's rise to power didn't just change the political landscape. It redefined how the Republican Party approaches critical issues like abortion. And to his credit, while he secured major pro-life victories, there's a growing concern that his recent statements are leading the party away from its long-term pro-life commitment and ditching it for short-term political gains. For years, pro-life leaders and activists were some of Trump's strongest supporters, and they played a critical role in helping him secure victories in 2016 and 2020. But now, as Trump takes a firm stance against things like a 6-week abortion ban or the regulation of the abortion pill, he's risking alienating these supporters and causing them to have less political impact. In fact, his newest stance on abortion is now splitting pro-life advocates between those who remain loyal to him and those who want a more consistent hardline candidate. I mean, I think it's worth taking a second to really think about this. The one who once championed the heartbeat bill, now calling it a
terrible thing and a terrible mistake,
shows not only just how much he's changed, but statistically, we can see the impact that his change has had on voters. Recent polls show that a growing 44% of Republicans believe that the party needs to reduce its position on abortion in order to stay competitive in elections. And even more telling, 41% of Republicans now say that abortion should be legal in most or all cases, reflecting just how Trump's influence is reshaping the party. And this isn't to say that they don't have a point, because some Republicans believe that without a more flexible position on abortion, they'll alienate key voters like suburban women and young voters who tend to support more moderate abortion policies. But others believe that core principles like protecting life shouldn't be sacrificed for political gains. As more Republican candidates take more moderate positions to appeal to swing states, traditional conservatives worry that this weakens the party's moral foundation. But Trump thinks that the reason why Republicans were losing in the 2022 midterms is because they handled the abortion issue poorly, especially those that were firm on protecting life without exceptions. And what he said there was significant because, as other Republican leaders take note, this will undoubtedly weaken the movement's political clout. And in the end, taking a stand for life, once a foundational principle of the Republican Party, now seems at risk of being reduced to mere political inconvenience. Alright, so what does this mean for the future of the pro-life movement? Well, while Trump's influence on the political landscape is undeniable, the pro-life movement's values are not grounded in political figures or party lines. They're grounded in the belief that every life is sacred. God loved every single one of us so much that he put on human flesh, came into our world, and gave his very life so that we could live forever. So as Christians, we're called to defend life, not because it's politically convenient, but because we believe that every person has value given to them by God himself. And that mission doesn't change regardless of the political winds. Now, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around to the end, and please hit the like button on the way out because it really does help us in the algorithm. And after you've done that, go ahead and check out this video to hear how Trump's religious views have changed over the years, all right? I'll see you over there, and thanks for watching.